Alright gang, welcome back to our one-tile challenge here on Calmlands. Quick note, I've been doing some more research into the coal production, which we talked about, I don't know, a number of episodes ago now at this point. One of my subscribers, I believe, in the comments, Future Z, put this up here right now if you can, made a note that, you know, they finally figured out what was going on with that, and there's certain mods that do not interact properly with each other. And that ends up being the case, and it's not a good thing for us, unfortunately. So, the reason why the coal is not working, and obviously this field's ready to harvest, among pretty much every other field, but the reason why it's not working is unfortunately because of our little market production here. This is interacting with the coal production, and they are clashing with each other. As soon as I removed this mod from being installed for this playthrough, started working immediately. So that's unfortunate. I really like this production. I really don't think a bigger one than this makes sense. However, now that we have the road salt production going, and we're going to have to find that road salt selling point, we may be able to get rid of that one in favor of that. We'll have to play it by ear. Right now, we don't have the money for the coal production anyway, so not a big deal. We'll leave that selling point there for the time being. But that is something we're going to have to work through here as we move along. Now, a couple other things that I've decided to do. As I mentioned before, this shed here is optional. You do not have to keep it. You have to put it down initially, but then you can sell it if you want to at the very beginning of this playthrough, right? Of this challenge. But you are allowed to move it around wherever you want to. We are going to be moving that shed. Now, it's not going to be moving very far. I just think we have a better idea of where things are going to be at. So I think now would be a good time for us to move it. We don't have a ton of money. Don't get me wrong. We really have no money at all. But that's okay. I still think we have enough money to move it where I want to. Now, it's going to kind of make a couple of things over here kind of obsolete, but the reason why I'm moving it, let me give you a bird's eye view here of the reason why I'm moving it. So what I want to do is I want to take the shed, I'm not going to put it down right now, obviously we don't have enough money to do it anyway, but just bear with me for a minute so I can show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to bump the shed right up here to the edge of the sheep pen. Okay, so I'm going to put it there. That will open up this whole space. Now, why am I doing that? Well, we talked about, I don't know, it might have been a handful of episodes ago now at this point, but whatever it was, we talked about upgrading or increasing our salt production. I'd like to do that. If we move the shed from where it currently is over to here, which I think is a better spot for it anyway, because right now we're just kind of taking up wasted space here that we could be utilizing better. If we move the shed there, this opens up this area here. We obviously have to get rid of the bees again. We might have to get rid of all of this stuff, but that's fine. We can then put down the bigger salt production. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. I think it does. If nothing else, we can at least take this same exact production and kind of flip it behind it, and then have two of them. That's probably the smarter play, but we'll figure it out as we move along. But that's kind of the goal here. That's what I want to accomplish. So we're just going to go ahead and do it right now. I'm just going to go ahead and sell this. It's not going to leave us with a whole lot of money, but again, that's okay. It's not that big of a deal. And let's see here. I want this to be kind of lined, I mean, as close as I possibly can get it, right here to the edge with the sheep pin. I mean, it looks like I can't actually line it up perfectly, unfortunately. I was wanting that to be like a perfectly straight line, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get it there. I think that will be okay, though. Okay. Our shed has been moved. It's over here now, which I'm fine with. Yeah, this is good. This will work fine. This will work perfectly fine for us. All right, so we've got our new shed. These things we can move around, like I said, as we move along here. Not a big deal. But we've got the shed moved, so that's going to line things up a little bit better for us, I think, as we move along. So that's step one. Step one of today has been accomplished. Step two, we've got a lot of harvest to do. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 fields that all need to be harvested today. That's a lot. I don't know if I can actually drive through here or not. It's going to be tight. Yeah, we'll make it. We'll make it. 4 fields to harvest today, plus we have the grass field that could be mowed as well, but we're not going to do that one today because we clearly have enough going on right now to not worry about that, right? So we're going to jump into this directly, and I think What field should we do first here, gang? I kind of think we need to do this one over here. Now, it's July. It is not a good time to sell any of this that we're going to be harvesting today. So, what does that mean? Well, what it means is we are going to be putting as much of this as humanly possible into our silos. Are we going to have enough room to do everything we have here? Probably not. Probably not. But we're going to attempt it. We're going to try to see if we can make that work or not. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully you're all doing well. We will put the coal production down once we have enough money to do so. Obviously, I wasted a little bit of money there by moving the shed, but after having a rethink, and I kind of said this at the very beginning of the series, right? I said as we move along, we're going to have a better idea of where we want things to be. I think at this point, I'm happy to keep the yard where it currently is. So I think moving the shed there is good. It gives us a little more room. We can expand our salt production, which is good because we've got a big, massive salt production. Well, we can expand. I guess it's a production no matter which way you look at it, right? We can expand our salt area to produce more, which we can then put into our road salt production, right? It's probably, the more I think about it, it's probably smart for us to keep the salt production we have currently and then just back another one up behind it. That's probably the smarter bet, because we're going to waste a little bit if we don't go that approach. And what I mean by waste a little bit is, obviously, we're not going to have a perfect timed area where we can sell the current salt production just to upgrade it to a bigger one. It's probably going to be better for us to not go that approach and go about it a different way, right? Bit of a shameless plug here for myself, but recently we started a new series. It's a vintage survival. Now, it's not a challenge. It's not a vintage survival challenge. It's just a vintage survival where we have limits of what we can utilize up to a certain date in history for equipment, and just trying to build up a farm. And I'm really excited about it. I have never done a vintage survival series on the channel. I've done some off-camera in the past before I was recording videos. But I've mentioned this many times. I'm a big fan of old farming equipment. That's what I like the best. So I'm very excited about that series, and hopefully it does well, and hopefully you're all interested in it. It's a fantastic map that we're doing it on as well. I'm going to butcher the name, but I'll try here. Spaskovo? I don't know. Saying it completely wrong, but maybe you'll know what the map is just based off of that alone. I'm sure you probably will. It's a pretty popular map. It is a perfect map for a vintage type of survival series, in my opinion. Smaller fields, just works out really well, I think, for that map. Now, we start with no money at all whatsoever on that series, so I guess it is a bit of a challenge to an extent since we start with no money, but we do start with some equipment. Actually, probably a little bit, maybe the right word to utilize is a little bit more than some. We start with, I don't know, like 5 or 6 different items, which you normally wouldn't start with in a survival challenge type of series, or even a vintage survival, I guess. Vintage survival challenge series. Now, full transparency, and I think most people know this. As far as I'm aware, I think Daggerwin's the first person to ever do a vintage survival series. Mine is very similar to his, where it's not a challenge, like I mentioned, but just mostly a survival series. With trying to make money and survive on, the amount of money we make from what we're utilizing. I've got some basic hybrid rules that I have around it as well. I've got some goals and objectives I'm trying to achieve, but they're not challenges. So it's not something where if we don't succeed or don't complete one of the goals, it's not a failure specifically. I mean, maybe a failure to me, but it's not really a failure specifically to the actual series, if that makes sense. So we're dropping straw here on this wheat field. We're almost full here. As a matter of fact, since we are so close to being full, I probably should go down over here. Now, it is July. It's a sunny day. There's no rain in the forecast at all, which means we should be able to knock all of these fields out today. Now, are we going to be able to get anything else done in the fields? Likely not. Likely not. It's going to take us a while to do everything we have to do here. All right, let's jump into the International Harvester here. And we'll grab the trailer. We'll also take a look today at the used market and see if there's anything out there. Having said that, we have no money whatsoever right now, but that's okay. We've got some things we can sell today. The crawfish should still be a decent price. I actually think we might have run out of brewed crawfish, though, which is what we need to start making those, so we might have to look into that. Whoop, too far. We also have some salt we can sell today. And then eggs and everything else is also there as well. So we've got a couple of things we can work on. I don't believe we have spawned any pallets yet of wool. I'm sorry, clothes. We have spawned a pallet of clothes. Okay, that's good. Well, we're not going to be selling it anytime soon. We know that, right? We've talked about that already. You know, May's the best time to sell it. Now it's July, so the price probably isn't terrible. So I guess if we absolutely had to, we could sell it. But the odds are we're probably not going to sell the clothes today either. Let's see where we're at here. Yeah, they're not great. 8,000, I guess. Up at the main store, 8,214. It's not bad. It's not bad, but it's by no means is it good either, right? So we'll have to see. If we're desperate, then maybe we can sell it. But I think I would prefer to. Where are we going here? I think this is that weird field where it has the GPS has this very, very slim, tiny little line it wants you to harvest. So let's just do it the old-fashioned way. Speaking of that, that is one of the rules that I have set for myself in the Vintage Survival series, which is I'm not allowed to use GPS. You wouldn't more than likely have GPS during that time period anyway. Maybe with some late 90s stuff, you might have some basic GPS, but it would be very, very minuscule. Most of the stuff we're utilizing so far is from the 80s, and they would certainly not have any GPS at that point. So we're going to try to keep to the times as much as we can. Now, it's certainly not going to be perfect because there's not that much out on ModHub right now for some vintage stuff. So it's going to make it extra difficult in that sense. But I need everyone to keep me honest. If you do watch that series and you happen to see me turn on the steering assist, GPS, whatever you want to call it, for some reason, it'll be an accident if I do it. It'll just be out of habit. We're going to be doing making one of those fields over there another crop field. We talked about that recently, right? But we got to wait for that other section of grass there, I think, to be ready to mow before we do it. I don't want to waste that fertilizer we put down on it. Having said that, we probably would get an application of fertilizer since it is grass, so maybe we could. But I still want to mow it and get some money out of that. Our goal is still eventually to get rid of the baler, as we mentioned in the last episode, and get the, well, I guess we've mentioned it in a lot of episodes recently, get a forage wagon, loading wagon, whatever. But I want to utilize more of that netting that we bought for the actual baler before we do so, right? I don't want to waste that. I'm extremely hopeful we're going to be able to get most of these fields into our silos. I'm concerned that we're not going to be able to get all of them, but I'm hopeful. And here we go. We're going down a weird angle again, but whatever. That's fine. We'll just do it this time. We'll allow it to happen this time. What we'll likely do with whatever we have that's leftover excess, I guess we're just going to have to sell it. We don't have enough money to put down another silo extension. We really don't have the room to put down another silo extension right now either. Well, not really, at least. We probably could get away with it if we moved it maybe on the other side of the chickens there, but we don't... Oops, sorry, gang, hit the microphone. we don't have a whole lot of room is what I'm trying to get at. At least not there. We could add more, I guess, over there where we're going to put some productions and other things, but since we really don't have that fully planned out yet, I would prefer... Well, I thought we were going to get to the end there. I would prefer to not put those over there right now. Now, another thing we got to think about here, we've got to save up for a rice harvester. And that rice harvest is going to be coming a lot sooner than I actually had anticipated when I first put those in. I might have mentioned that in the last episode, but it's the truth. We're going to be ready to harvest the rice here in like another month or two. And we need 100 grand, and we don't have 100 grand. We're nowhere near 100 grand. So having said that, although we want to put all of this in storage, it might be a situation where when the time comes to harvest the rice, we might have to be selling everything we have at that point in hopes to be able to get that rice harvester, right? We might even have to sell some equipment. Might get ourselves in a bit of trouble there because I put that rice in probably a little early. I probably should have just kept it as the crawfish brood stock for a little while. Or the crawfish production, I guess I should say, for a little while. And not jumped to making it into rice so early. I've been a little early for it. But that's okay. We'll figure it out as we move along here. Having said that, I probably shouldn't have moved the shed either, because that was, a waste of 6 grand, but whatever. We'll figure out a way to get around it. So we got a lot of work to do here, gang. Let's get going here. It's going to take us a while. We'll see how much we can get done in a relatively short-ish time lapse. I don't want to spend too much time on a time lapse, if at all possible. But if we get in a groove here and we get most of it done, then I'll be happy. Okay, we're making pretty decent progress here, and evidently there's hail in the forecast, and July seems to be a little weird to have hail coming, but I guess it could happen. But hail's in the forecast, I guess, which was not what I looked at earlier. It looks like it's going to get here around 1,500, so I think for what we're going to want to accomplish today, we will get it done. I'm not sure we're going to get everything harvested today. We should have a 2-month window for most things here. Besides the barley, it looks like. The canola, we've got a little bit of extra time, but the canola is going to pay us the most money, right? So we just need to make sure the barley is all taken care of. I think all we put in was wheat, though. Yeah, all we put in was wheat. So we technically have another month left for the wheat. Same for the oat. So not as big of a concern, I guess, to getting those done, although I'd like to. If we just run out of time, and then we can always wait and finish those up in the next episode. But the canola is going to pay us the most, so I want to try to get this up before any hail damage potentially ruins some of that yield, right? Still got a long ways to go get all this done. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and put this back on a worker. I put it on a worker for a brief period while we had to unload that one time, but for the most part, we really haven't utilized workers a whole lot in this series, but we're going to start utilizing them a little bit more as we move along. Oops, I missed a little piece there. Oh, we can come back and touch that up. That's fine. I'm going to go ahead and top off this trailer here with, if we can get over there in time. I'm not sure we can get over there in time, but if we can, I'm going to top it off, and then we'll go unload this. We need to flood the rice field again. I believe it needs one more flooding. We've got a couple pallets of the crawfish that we could potentially sell today. I need to look at the price. It's going to continue to drop, so it may not be as good now today as it has been, but if it's an okay price, we probably will just go ahead and sell it. Alright, let's go unload this. Alright, while that is unloading into our silo here, let's see if we can take a look at some of the stuff we know that we can sell. The clothes, again, not terrible. We probably should sell the clothes today. Actually, I think I'm going to sell that pallet of clothes today, just because we're going to need the money for that rice harvester here very, very soon. Much sooner than we would otherwise like to admit. Somebody did tell me, as far as the coarse salt goes and the road salt, that even without a selling point, you can just turn it on auto selling and you will make money off of it. I wasn't really thinking that would happen, but evidently it will. The crawfish, not great, but not bad. We'll go ahead and sell it. Gains us a little bit more money. The fine salt is going up, which is good. The flour salt, all that should be around the time period of when the rice is ready to harvest, so that's going to help us. We probably should hold on to those as long as we can. Probably should have dropped the fork off the front of this, but that's alright, too late now. What do we got in here? Okay, we should be okay. I think we're going to be able to get most of the fields in there. I'm going to put this over here for right now, and then we're going to jump out of this, and we're going to flood this rice field before I forget about it. Evidently, I didn't fertilize this properly. It says only 50% fertilized, but I swear it went across it the second time. Did we forget to do that last episode? I mean, I guess we must have. Huh. I swear we did a second application here. Well, oh well, I guess we missed out on that. There's not really going to be a whole lot I can do. I guess I got to put a tram line down the middle and take care of it, but yeah. I don't really think that's worth it either, though. You know what I mean? All right, well, the worker continues doing that thing. Let's see if we can work on this area a little bit here. We've got a lot of things to move here. I'm going to go ahead and grab the baler really quick right now. just because we're going to need something to be able to move some of that crawfish over there. I also want to check on the stock of the brood crawfish. I'm pretty sure we were close to empty in the last episode, so I would suspect that we are either empty now or, I mean, as close, it makes no difference, empty. We have 196 liters. So yeah, we're as close, it makes no difference. So we need to buy another one of those today, which means that's more money that's going away, unfortunately. I forget what it was under. Was it others, maybe? Food? Oh, I forget where it was at. I might have been pallets. Is it here? No, that's the road salt. Where was it? Now I'm blanking on where the heck it was. Here it is. I went right past it. Here it is. I'm just going to buy one. We don't have a whole lot of money anyway, so we're just going to buy one. We're using this as a counterweight here to help us out, hopefully. All right, good, good, good. So yeah, it's unfortunate about this this sell point here, man. It's really too bad. It means we're gonna have to figure out something else for this whole area. It means we might even have to move Gramel's knitwear too, because it's probably gonna be in the way. I mean, it's gonna be taking up space at least, if nothing else, because we're not probably gonna be able to find something similar to this. I mean, maybe we can. I don't know. I need to do some more research, I guess, on sell points, but... Now, somebody in the comments, and I forget your name. I should have looked it up. I apologize. They were saying that you could potentially do all three different things in Gramel's knitwear. What I mean by that is if we had the clothes running, the clothes fabric running, the clothes cotton, fabric, and wool all running at the same time, it will slow everything down. So that's, I guess, potentially an option for us as well, right? We could go that route, but I still think the approach that we're running right now is going to work out fine, where we're only allowed to put a pallet in when it's completely full. That way it very much limits the speed at which all of the grannies are in there working. I think I mentioned this on I don't know what series it was on, probably Survival Challenge, but I feel like there's just a bunch of old grandmas in there just working away. They're just getting... Their little hands and everything are just hurting them because they're just getting put to work so much with how fast they're churning out all of those clothes. That's what I always like to think. One thing we haven't done yet, what did they use to market? Anything? No, nothing, nothing at all. I mean, maybe the fertilizer spreader, but that one does not allow us to do lime, so almost kind of pointless to even get that. So yeah, nope, there's nothing in the used market for us. As always, we never get lucky enough for the used market. Honestly, that's all right. All right, let's drop this off here. We only have a little bit of eggs. So that's not really going to make us any money. I talked about selling the eggs, but we sold all those in the last episode, didn't we? Okay. If I remember correctly, I had issues with this last time, too. I don't know why. Or maybe it's just delayed. I don't remember exactly what happened last time. It might be delayed in when it accepts it or something. Why is that not accepting the crawfish? It was on this side, wasn't it? Maybe I swear it's on this side. Yeah, it's on this side. There it goes. I don't know. It's just very finicky, I guess. Alright, we got that sorted out. Alright, the worker's full. Let me back the worker up here. I'm just going to go ahead and we'll just utilize the actual harvester itself and unload here. I'm going to put this right back on a worker because we've got some other things we want to take care of here. We got to move all this stuff around. I got to get that rice planter, seeder, drill, whatever, back under cover. I don't want that out and getting destroyed by the hail. That thing looks very fragile, to say the least. So we got to make sure we get that under cover. Now we've got all that straw over there to pick up as well, which we will pick that up, but it can wait to the next episode. It does not need to be this one. Just gonna grab this tiny bit here. It's gonna be like 1 liter, but okay, we got ourselves up to 14,653 from everything that we sold, so that's good. And then having the more crawfish coming, that's going to help too. Obviously, we're probably not going to be selling a whole lot more of that moving forward, but that's okay. We also have silage in here that we can sell. We probably won't sell it today. We'll probably sell it in the next episode because we've got so much going on over there anyway, right? We probably can hold off on that for the time being. All right, so let's see. Actually, you know what? I'm going to get into our Iseki PRJ8D. We'll get this put away before anything drastic happens to it. Now, I know a lot of people don't like this shed, but I like it for the most part. I mean, it definitely is not the most perfect shed by any means. I get that. I'm 100% with you on that. There's not a whole lot of room. It's not really easy to maneuver and stuff in here, but a lot of the stuff we're utilizing is smaller equipment anyway, right? So now, one thing I did not do, I said I was going to do it in the last episode before we started this one. I didn't do it. I didn't put down the house yet. So I kind of started recording this one like right before the other one released, so I really don't know your thoughts yet on the house. So we'll get it put in between the now and the next this episode and the next one. We'll have it put down, I promise. I don't know what you decided on or what you thought was best. If I had to guess, and this is a pure guess, without any insider knowledge at all of what you guys are thinking, I would think 2 is probably what you're going to pick, but who knows? I'm probably wrong. I don't know where I'm going here. Now, since we started this series, there is what I would call a drill, 2 drills specifically, the same drill, just different manufacturers for each one, that we utilized heavily in FS22. By far the most we used of anything. Those are finally here. They've been here, I think, for a little while, but, you know, obviously we had started this series before they came out. But they're here, so if we wanted to downgrade, or however you want to call it, upgrade, downgrade, whatever, we could if we wanted to. They're available. So that's another option we could utilize to try to get some funds back our way, right? All right, let's leave that there. Actually, you know what? We need to put this over here. Now, the bees and everything else we have over here, it's probably going to have to stay for the time... Well, actually, you know what? It may not. I was going to say, it's probably going to have to stay for the time being, even though it looks a little weird, but we might not. We might be able to get away with putting down another salt thing. I'll have to research this. Let me go and research this for a minute. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to do a little bit more research on that, gang. I don't want to spend too much money moving things around. I already spent enough moving the barn around. I don't want to spend too much more money moving other stuff around right now. when we don't really have that money to spend since we need that rice harvester, right? So, yeah, we'll leave it there for now. It's not really the most ideal situation. I know it doesn't look that great, but soon enough it will. We don't have enough to put down the big, massive salt production, even if we wanted to anyway. And if we wanted to put down the same size we have now, we do have enough for that, but... oops. No. But if we wanted to do that, it would take up most of the money we have, right? Which we're not really wanting to do right now. We're trying to save money, not spend money. Now, granted, putting that down would in long term make us more money, but I don't think we'd be able to get enough out of it before we need that rice harvester. Does that make sense? If that makes sense, right? We've got about an hour and a half before that hail gets here. We've got a long episode going right now, but I'm kind of tempted to keep it going here. But the problem is we're starting to run out of gas on our harvester here. We've got enough, probably, but we're going to run out if we're not careful here. We got to keep an eye on this. I'm just fingers crossed that the hail holds off until exactly 15. It could start any minute. So I did a little looking at the silage, gang. We should sell the silage today. It's about the average best price. Now, it fluctuates by $1. So does it really matter? No, but we might as well sell it, right? We might as well. So I think when we get up here to the end here, I'm going to unload the rest of this into the trailer. Hopefully it'll fit in there. If it doesn't, I'll have to make another trip. But and then I'll have the worker get started on doing this field here while we're working on unloading or selling all of the silage. It's not going to fit, is there? Is it? It's not going to fit. Dang it, we're going to have to make a couple trips. That's okay. Worker's not going to be able to finish that field more than likely before the hail gets here. It's just not going to happen. Ooh, actually, we might be able to fit all of that in there. All right, we did it. Nice. I was not expecting that. Okay, we're dropping straw there. We want that because we want that extra income. Even though it's a little amount of income, we still want it. All right, worker's going. We can turn around. We can go drop this off, and then we'll pick up the silage and start carting that and making ourselves, hopefully, a good amount of money. I mean, if we can get closer to 20, I'd feel a little more comfortable. It's still a long ways away from 90, was it 90-something thousand? Oh, a Kubota came out there. Well, we don't have any money for that. I shouldn't even be looking at that. Just ignore it. You didn't see it, Z. You didn't see it. 95,000. You didn't see it. I would love that Kubota, but yeah, it's just not in the cards right now. Not in the cards right now. All right, gang, we are going to leave the episode at this point. I know we still have a lot more to harvest. We've got a long episode here that I'll be working on for you. Hail should be here any minute, unfortunately. But we got a good amount done. We got a good amount collected, so less damage, hopefully. And let's hope the crops that we still do have, the rest of this field here, and then obviously this field that will likely be ready in the next episode, hopefully they don't gain any hail damage. Let's just keep the hail damage all to the grass. I don't mind if it's the grass fields. Let's not waste our crop fields, if at all possible. Very productive day. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I'd greatly appreciate it if you smash the like button for me. Subscribe if you're new. All that good stuff helps me out an absolute ton, more than you could possibly imagine. They are both free to do. Thoughts, questions, comments, ideas. You know the drill. Let me know down below. We've got some work to do over here to clean this up and make this look better, but it is going to look a lot better, I think, when we're done. But it's going to be probably a couple of months, a couple of episodes before it really comes to the fruition of my new plan for this area. So, hope you enjoyed it. Once again, thanks so much for your support. We'll see you in the next one.